to make good looking tables in Google Docs. There's a very similar process in Word, but given that Google Docs is more commonly used at Washburn, I am going to show you in Google Docs today. So I'm going to show you how to turn a table that looks like this into a table that looks like this. I would argue that this is a lot cleaner and a lot easier to read than this table, and this just pops a little more and looks more professional. So to get started, just for the premise, I decided I was going to pretend I was representing products being sold from a store. So I want to show what type of product I'm selling, like whether it's for an indoor cleaning or outdoor cleaning, what the item actually is, the cost, and their rating. And so I want this to be a header column. I want this to be an overarching type, this to be an overarching type, and then have each product have its own spot. And so you can see that down here I have header, product types, each item, each cost, and each rating. So to get started, I want to actually insert a table into Google Docs, and so I'm going to do that by going up to Insert, Table, and now you can draw out how many rows you want. So I'll just start by making a 4x4. This is what I initially did, but I'm realizing that if you look at this table up here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, but I accidentally only put in 4 rows here. Instead of having to completely delete the table and start over, I'm just going to click in this bottom box, click and hold drag, highlight this row, and then if I right click, you'll notice that I have a lot of options. And so I'm going to choose Insert Row Below, and I've just inserted a row. Just quickly looking at some of the other options you have when you right click, you can either delete a row if you don't need a row. You can insert a row above. If it says insert 4 columns left or insert 4 columns right, that's just saying I've highlighted 4 different things. Do you want me to add? I've highlighted 4 different cells. Do you want me to add that same number of cells to the left or right? It's a similar process. If you don't want that to happen, you just want to insert 1 column, you can just highlight a column, and now it's insert column left, insert column right, or insert 5 rows above or 5 rows below. Or you can delete the column. You can do all of that just by right-clicking. But I'm just going to start by formatting this table how I want. A little trick with tables is that if you click, drag, and highlight just like I did when I right-clicked, you can apply formatting to that highlighted area so you don't have to keep changing it every time. So I want these headers to be bolded and centered. So I'm going to click bold, and I'm going to center them. So now whenever I type up here, I'm not changing the formatting, it's just automatically set now so that when I type in these cells, it'll be bolded and it'll be centered. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the table, except this time I'm just going to center it. I typically recommend centering all your cells on a table. You don't have to, but I just personally think it looks better. Obviously the choice is yours. The next thing I want to do is I want these 2 cells to be 1 cell like it is up here. So this is 1 cell with the 2 cells following after. To do this, I'm just going to click, highlight, and drag like I've done before. And then in this right click menu again, I'm going to go down and click Merge Cells. And it does exactly what you think. It merges the cells together. So now I have 1 coherent cell for these 2 cells here. So it looks like that this type is encompassing of both products. I can do the same thing down here. Right click, merge cells. And there we go with that. One other thing is, let's say you accidentally merge 2 cells you don't want to. I accidentally merged these 2 cells. Again, you don't have to start over with the table. If you just highlight this 1 cell and it's been merged previously and you right click, you can click Unmerge Cells and it will set it right back to normal. So there's almost always an undo function that you can do with these tables, regardless of how far into the process you are of editing it. So let's fill in our data. Um, oops. I was able to navigate through these cells very quickly using the tab key. So if I'm in any cell and I press tab, it just moves over to the adjacent cell. Or you can use the arrow keys and move right, left, up, down very easily. Alright, so the last thing that we need to do is format the headers and the identification columns. And so to do this, if you just click and highlight, if you go up over here, when you have a table selected, you'll have these additional options, and you can choose background color. And so I usually like shades of gray. I feel like that also looks good with these tables. So I will do dark gray too. I think that looks pretty good. Over here, I just chose a lighter shade of gray, so I'll choose a lighter shade of gray there. I think that looks pretty good. A few other things just before ending, even though I didn't do that with this table. You can change the border width of each table. So if you want, I don't know, let's say I want this border to be bigger, like thicker than these borders. If I click and I hold shift, I can click as many of these borders as I want, and then you'll see it's completely confined down to border width, and I could increase it. So let's say I wanted 3 points. Now you can see I have a much thicker border. If I wanted to, I could change the color of it. I could change it to a dashed border if I wanted to. You just have to make sure that you select all of them to get it to work. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching.